And we'll be able to cut education in half and get much better education. In some of the states, I can name them right now, will have the best education anywhere in the world. Some won't do as well. There are a couple of states like, I would say Gavin Newsom will not do well. Under the Trump administration, we're going to bring law and order and safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to our forgotten communities. And we are going to liberate our once great cities and make Philadelphia better and more beautiful than ever before. But saving this once incredible place begins with stopping the killing and the crime that's setting records every single week. Unbelievably, crooked Joe Biden is going around trying to claim that crime is down. He says crime is down. Crime is so much up. First of all, we have a new form of crime. It's called the Biden migrant crime, right? Biden migrant. And all these millions of people that have come in here, they're just getting warmed up because, you know, they wanted to feel it out. They didn't know what the words politically correct mean because in their country, if they did what they do over here, they'd be shot and killed instantly. They can't believe what's happening over here. So it's only going to get worse. It's going to get worse and worse right up to the election. And after the election and January 20th, it's going to get real good. It's going to get real good. It's going to go fast. We're going to give immunity to our police. So if they arrest somebody, or if they speak a little bit harshly, they won't be discarded, they won't be destroyed, they won't be thrown in jail because they raised their voice to a criminal. They won't lose their family, they won't lose their home, they won't lose their pension. But the FBI crime statistics Biden is pushing are fake. They're fake, just like everything else in this administration. Now he's even saying that all his mishaps were fake. They say the fake news covered him in a fake manner. That's a lot of fake news. That's a lot of fake news back there. All we want them to do is be honest. Because they're all going out of business. Nobody believes them anymore. And it didn't help when they went along with the Biden scam. What is he called? What does he call it? Do you know what he calls it? So they get him in about 9 different positions. I mean, even normal positions, although I assume he's been in some very bad ones. But they get him in all these horrible, compromising posts. And then they say it really wasn't that way. It was so. Then everybody sends in, they all have cameras. See, every one of you has a camera. If I blow it up here, though, they take a perfect, brilliant, beautiful statement that I make. I go for 2 hours without teleprompters. And if I say one word slightly out, they say, he's cognitively impaired. Whereas Biden can run into walls. He can fall off the stage. He can fall up the stairs. He falls up. He can turn around. Listen to this. From 20,000 feet of paratroopers landing right in front of him. Everybody, all the foreign leaders are watching. And he turns around to look at a tree. Right? No. And then they say it was fake. He was fine. And then the press goes along with it. They go along with it. They say, isn't it terrible the way they cover him? No, he's terrible. The worst president in history by far. And we have to get him out, or this country is not going to survive another year. According to the much better National Crime Victimization Survey, there has actually been a 43% increase in violent crime since I left office, including 58% increase in rapes, an 89% increase in aggravated assaults, and a 56% increase in robberies. Other than that, I think we're doing quite well, don't you? But with your vote, Joe Biden's wave of bedlam and death and terror will begin to recede the moment I take the oath of office, January 20th. First, I will stand with the heroes of law enforcement. We will give our police officers the respect and protection, resources, and support that they need to drive down your crime to zero. Second, we will surge federal law enforcement resources to the places that need them most. There are certain places, like places that I know very well here, that are just absolutely out of control. I mean, if you walk down certain streets here, you have a 50-50 chance of not ever seeing your home again. That's not too good. Instead of throwing Christians in jail, as Biden has done, we are going to crack down on the gangs, the drug dealers, human traffickers, and criminal cartels. Third, we're going to stand up to the out-of-control, Soros-backed DAs like Philadelphia's despicable Marxist prosecutor, Larry Krasner. How did he get in? Krasner has the blood of countless men, women, children on his hands, including thousands of African-American citizens, because he refuses to prosecute people. They don't refuse to prosecute me. I got more prosecutions than any human being. I've got more than the great Alphonse Capone. You ever hear of Scarface? Oh, my parents are looking down. How did this happen to my son? You know how it happened? I won an election that I wasn't supposed to win. I then did better the second time by a lot. We did much better, for those of you in the fake news, we did much better the second time than we did the first, like not even a contest. In fact, we got the most votes for a sitting president in the history of our country. And then we were told, oh, but you just missed it. You just lost.
The only thing that you can do right now in today's time is get right with God. Get right or get left. Everything. I'm going to say this again because I want y'all to think. I just had a conversation with a couple of people, right, that study, that went to school, and we had a little debate. And when you tell somebody educated or AKA miseducated, that's miseducated, and they think that they went to school and they know more than you, and then you start actually busting a bubble and making them realize that the people who taught you his story and what you think is his story, even starting back to slavery, was a lie. Let's break something down, right? I'm going to ask y'all a question, and I want y'all to answer me in the comment section. Do any of y'all that's watching me right now trust any of them African leaders? Yes or no? Over there in Africa. Do you trust them? We go on according to African history, when in all actuality, Africa is being controlled by every colonizer, which means everything that you learned from over in Africa, even the African scholars and the ones that take you into the pyramids and break down what's on the walls, do you trust their teachings? First of all, you can't even get in the pyramids without their permission. You can't go in the Grand Canyon without their permission. So do you really think that you're going to go over there? Do you trust them? Do you trust them? You got to ask yourself a question, right? If you Google the old maps, you see places on those maps that doesn't exist on the maps today. What happened to those land masses? Huh? Why we can't go to Antarctica? Why is ice off limit? What over there do they not want us to see? So everything that they don't want us to see has been hidden. It's been hidden. And I'm going to tell you something again, because I want y'all to really start thinking and using your brains. When you sit back and you really analyze The world that we live in today, I'm going to tell you again, right? You got people over there in Sentinel Island that's running around, and they are primitive. Bow and arrow running around butt naked. You see images and videos of those people over there. When you try to go on that island, they kill you immediately because they do not want contact from us. Right? Now, if you come over here to America, we dealing with the latest technology. We have lights, right? Some shit that's like, you couldn't even imagine having this. They don't have none of this over here. We have running water, right? So when you sit back and you really, really analyze, I'm going to say this again. You are living in a world now where there's somewhere inside the earth, like you got stupid niggas like Charleston White. He get up on the internet and he think he's saying something smart by telling you what I've been telling y'all. We are people of the sun. We need the sun. Oh, black people ain't been in no caves. Yes, black people was in caves. Yes, we were. And you have, just like you watched the movie The Matrix, how it showed you Neo and his crew, they all lived in the caves. Yes. Because there's a source of energy and a source of water that's pure inside the earth. And in some cases, there's more lives inside the earth than outside the earth that we don't even see or communicate with. They don't want communication with us. This is what they don't tell you. Don't listen to dumb people that be telling you dumb stuff. They tell you stupid stuff like, oh, white people are cave beasts. Listen, we was in the caves before they was in the cave. What are you talking about? And then have the audacity to call somebody a cave beast when you live in the projects, which is worse than a cave. The projects is worse than a cave. Then you listen to the stupid stuff. All the minerals on this earth comes out of where? A cave. All of the gold and diamonds comes out of where? The cave. So you let people convince you that we wasn't in the caves, that the caves belongs to them. So what you basically just said, you don't even realize what you just said. You basically just said that the caves belong to them, and that's why they got all the technology and they got all of the money, because we was too bougie for the caves. Right?
Here, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion, and I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are. This is not a normal situation. This is not, oh, isn't it wonderful, these wonderful people. These people are drug dealers, gang members, killers in so many different ways. Now, and we probably have 18 million. We'll have 20 million by the time we get this guy out of there. But we got to get him out fast. We got even bigger problems. We got to get him out fast. The biggest problem is what he's saying to Russia, China, to Kim Jong-un, North Korea. What he's saying to these countries, they're laughing at us. They can't believe this has happened to America. On day one, I will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens the hell back home. Day after day, week after week, Joe Biden is releasing illegal criminals into our communities to rape, pillage, plunder, and to kill. And by the way, here's the only thing. He doesn't even have a clue, in my opinion. These are young, smart people that happen to be fascists and communists that surround. They surround him in the Oval Office, the beautiful Resolute desk. It's been soiled. That gorgeous Resolute desk. What they're doing to our country, they're destroying our country. Just this week, a 12-year-old girl in Houston, Jocelyn Nungari, was tied up, stripped, and strangled to death after walking to a 7-Eleven, her body dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal alien savages that Joe Biden recently set loose into our country. They came across our border, claiming they feared for their lives in Venezuela. They feared for their lives in Venezuela. You know, in Venezuela, crime is down 72% because they've taken their criminals, their drug dealers, and most of the people in their jails, and they've brought them to the United States of America. So they were afraid for their lives, and think of it, they couldn't stand it. They were so.
Come on, Mike. Come on, man. Malcolm X went even deeper. Everybody be sitting up there praising Dick Gregory. Malcolm X called him a puppet as well. Named him. He said Dick Gregory is a puppet, but you called him a scholar. Y'all better wake up and smell the coffee, man. Then you gotta understand something, right? See, I like Trump because Trump is real, right? He said what's on his mind. Trump told you that when he get in office, the police, he's gonna give them immunity for the things that they do to who? He's gonna give them immunity. Now, for me, it's like, I'm not worried about myself. But if you living in the hood, and Trump just gave the police a license to turn your TV off. If he gave them a license to turn your TV off, to disconnect your Wi-Fi, and send you to the afterlife with the ancestors, are we cool with that? Are we prepared for that? What's the difference between a Puerto Rican and an Ecuadorian or one of these border jumpers to a racist colonizer that's coming in your community looking for you? When Trump unleashed the wolves, when he let the dogs go, when he let them dogs go, and they come in the community to come snatch up all the border jumpers, what happens then? Huh?
That's not going away. We're still dealing with this every day.
As the migrant crisis continues, New York City leaders will not stop evictions for adult migrants who've reached their 30 or 60-day shelter limit. Critics have called the policy inhumane.
People said it's inhumane to put people out during the wintertime. So now they say it's inhumane to do it in the summertime. It's inhumane to do it in the springtime. It's inhumane to do it in the fall time. It's always inhumane to have to not be able to house 198,000 people.
250 migrants are expected to be evicted this week if they haven't proven they face extenuating circumstances to find new housing. The tightening of this policy comes after a court settlement surrounding New York City's right to shelter law. The rule does not apply to migrant families with children. City officials say they have done their part to help migrants figure out their next steps after their time at the shelter expires.
So you got 250,000 migrants that was welcomed into our city by this mayor, right? Welcome all, right? Now they flipping the script. And these people, especially starting with the men are going to be evicted. What do you think that these dudes are going to do that was released from jails in their country and now they're over here where they feel like the American government and judicial system is sweet? What you think will happen? What do you think is going to happen? When Trump let the wolves, when he let the dogs go, what do you think is going to happen? Ask yourself a question, right? What are you going to do when they cut welfare off? When they cut Section 8 off? And food is on the rise because the dollar bill has no value. It never did. But now all these different countries are dropping the dollar bill and we are moving over to a digital currency where your money is going to disappear out of the bank. What do you think you're going to do when you can't go in the supermarket and feed yourself, your kids? Women are going to turn to prostitution. Sad part about it is when a woman goes to get a protection, to have a man hold her down, while she do what she does best is sell her punani to feed the family. Now when you get caught, they done figured out how to turn niggas in the hood into traffickers because they don't want no competition. So now you, the regular pimps on the block, you have become the face of what they call trafficking. You are the face. You don't see the real traffickers getting locked up no more. When Trump first was in office and he was at war with the deep state, he had the FBI running up in everything. Trump made me a believer with that. But now you have become the face of evil. So what do you think is going to happen when you say, okay, this is the only way? Now you got your shorty out there. She's selling a box to get a loaf of bread. And you holding her down. And now they giving dudes life in jail for that. Because it's not meant for you to survive. And evil don't like competition. Gotta hit that like button, man. Come on, they selling the box. What do you think you're going to do? Why do you think, let me tell you something. Why do you think a lot of the dudes that get on their feet and got a little bit of bread won't leave the hood? Why do you think some of these rappers that's tied into these politicians won't leave the hood? There's either two things. When shit hit the fan in the future, they want some of these rappers to have strongholds in the hood, which they do. Or the other ones that won't leave the hood, they know if they lose their job or their money get low, they can sell some shit in the hood to get back on their feet that they can't sell in the suburbs. Because even though people in the suburbs be indulging in the same things that people in the hood does, they don't want that in their community, and they're not going to tolerate that lifestyle in their community. And when they cannot afford to if they can't stop you from tearing down the middle class and the rich, they'll sell a house to get the hell away from you. Because people in their right mind ain't going to accept nobody selling crack next door to them. People in a right mind is not going to accept you having a marijuana spot right next door to their mansions. They don't even care if they smoke. They'll buy it, but they're not going to buy it from you selling it next door. So
Venezuela, but they waited only weeks before murdering this precious, young, beautiful girl. One of them was here for 21 days before the murder took place. Last week in New York, another illegal alien who Joe Biden set loose into our country approached two 13-year-old children with a machete In broad daylight, and like a scene from a horror movie, he forced them into the woods, tied them together by their wrists, and raped the young girl at a park in Queens, a park that I grew up right next to, while filming it on camera. He put it on camera. He thought it was great. You know, I used to go to that park. I'd ride my bicycle like a kid. I was a kid too. Can you believe it? I'd ride my bicycle to the park. My mother loved me, but she'd say, "Oh, good, now be home at a certain time." You know, I'd ride there. This went on for years. There was never any thought of anything happening. Now, if you go to a park near your home, you have a very good chance of never seeing your child again. This is not living in a country that we grew up in, and we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it. We're going to take our country back. We're going to take our country back. In Iowa this week, another illegal immigrant released by Joe Biden pled guilty to sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl. And last week, yet another Biden migrant was arrested for the rape and murder of Rachel Morin. I just spoke to her mother, Patricia, Patty, as they say, Patricia. Rachel was a 37-year-old Maryland mother of 5 whom he attacked while she was out for a run. She wanted to stay in good shape, and she ends up getting killed. Police believe that the animal responsible for Rachel's killing first murdered another young woman in El Salvador. Then he fled across Joe Biden's wide-open border. Wide open! Come on in. Into the United States. You know, we have the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the unsafest border in the history of the world. After which he savagely attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home in Los Angeles before killing Rachel. And a lot of Rachel's family is here. I have to say that they're incredible people. And we're deeply grateful for the brother and sister of Rachel, Michael Morin, Aaron Morin Lehman. Would you stand up, please, wherever you may be? They've gone through hell. I've watched them on television. I've watched you on television, and it is a tough deal. People say time. I don't know about time. I don't know if that's the answer. Thank you very much. Michael and Aaron, we grieve Rachel's loss. We pray that God will ease your pain, and we resolve to secure our border so this will never happen again. But you know it's going to happen again because we have an incompetent man. He's an incompetent, and he's happens to be the president. You know, all he has to do is say, close the border. He doesn't need Congress. He could, I need Congress. I didn't have Congress. I closed the border. We had the safest border. He doesn't need, all he has to do is say, close the border. And it's closed. That's all you have to say. He doesn't need anything from Congress. It's just unlikely that a thing like that would have happened. Thank you for being with us. Yeah. That's when it first, we built hundreds of miles of wall. We got Mexico to give us thousands and thousands of soldiers. And we had a great border even while we were building it. And then we were going to add 200 miles of wall. And we had a rigged election take place. And what happened is when I left, all hell broke loose. And they didn't want to finish the wall. They didn't want to put up the additional wall we built. And it was all built to the highest specs of Border Patrol and ICE. And they're incredible people, by the way, Border Patrol and ICE. And instead of putting it up, which would have taken 3 weeks, they decided to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar.